Alright, listen up, because I know a lot of people right now are looking at the charts, looking at the red candles, looking at their portfolio, and they're panicking. You're seeing HBAR dip, you're seeing people dump their bags, and you're thinking, man, is this the end? Did I make a mistake? But let me stop you right there. This crash, this blood in the market, is a trap. It's the same trap we've seen over and over again in crypto. Every single cycle, the whales, the institutions, the people who've been playing this game way longer than most retail investors, they know exactly what they're doing. And here's the truth. They want your HBAR. They want you scared. They want you frustrated. They want you so emotionally drained that you say, forget it. I'm selling. I'll take my loss. Because the second you sell, guess who's buying it all up? The big players. The ones who actually understand what Hedera is building. HBAR isn't some pump-and-dump token. We're talking about a project that has real utility, real partnerships, real enterprise backing. Boeing, Google, IBM. The Hedera Council isn't made up of some random dudes in a Telegram group. It's global corporations with actual influence. And you think those kinds of players are worried about a short-term price dip? Not a chance. See, the crash is designed to shake you out. It's designed to test your conviction. That's what's happening right now. We saw it with Bitcoin. We saw it with Ethereum. We saw it with XRP. And now we're seeing it with HBAR. Same game, new cycle. So don't fall for it. Don't let fear drive your decision-making. Because while retail investors are panicking, the institutions are accumulating. They're preparing for the next leg up, the move that most people won't be around to enjoy because they got shaken out too early. And I'm telling you right now, if you hold, if you stay strong, if you understand the fundamentals of Hedera, you're going to look back at this moment and laugh. You're going to say, wow, that was the time when everyone else was scared, but I didn't budge. And now my portfolio is thanking me for it. Because the crash isn't the end. It's the setup. And the people who see through it, those are the ones who win in crypto. HBAR fundamentals. Why this dip is a trap. Okay, family, let's get into the meat of this. Because it's one thing for me to tell you, hold your HBAR, don't let the crash scare you. But if I don't show you why, if I don't lay down the actual foundation, then it's just motivational talk. And that's not what this channel is about. This is about clarity, about conviction, about you walking away from this video saying, you know what, I actually understand why I'm holding, so let's break it down piece by piece. Hedera isn't just another chain. First of all, let's be clear. Hedera is not just another random blockchain. In fact, here's the kicker. Technically, it's not even a blockchain. It's a hash graph. And I know, some of you might be new to this and you're asking, what's the difference? Why should I care? Here's why. Blockchains are powerful, but they're limited. They process transactions in blocks, and that naturally creates bottlenecks. That's why Bitcoin is slow. That's why Ethereum needed layer 2s. That's why so many chains are scrambling for scalability. Hashgraph flips the game. Instead of blocks lined up one after another, Hedera's hashgraph allows transactions to be processed simultaneously. Gossip about gossip, if you've heard that phrase. And what that means in simple terms. Near-instant finality, dirt-cheap fees, and scalability that blockchains wish they could achieve. We're talking about the ability to process over 10,000 transactions per second at a fraction of a cent. And it's not just theory. It's happening right now. That's why I keep telling people, Hedera isn't trying to be the next Ethereum. Hedera is building its own lane. It's not here to replace blockchains. It's here to solve problems blockchains can't solve. The governing council, the big boys are in the room. Now, let's talk about one of the most important aspects, governance. If you've been around crypto for a while, you know that governance is a big deal. Who controls the network? Who makes the decisions? With a lot of blockchains, the governance is either too centralized, like one team calling all the shots, or it's too chaotic, with thousands of people trying to vote on complex upgrades. Hedera found a balance. They built the Hedera Governing Council, a group of up to 39 global organizations across industries, finance, tech, aviation, telecom, universities, all of it. We're talking about names like Google, IBM, Boeing, LG, Standard Bank, Ubisoft, the list goes on. Now ask yourself, If these companies didn't believe in Hedera's future, would they put their names, their brands, their reputations on the line? Of course not. The governing council isn't there just for show. They run the nodes. They participate in decision-making. They're literally the backbone of Hedera's stability. And that's why institutions are comfortable building on Hedera. They know this isn't some fly-by-night DeFi project that could rug tomorrow. This is an enterprise-grade network with enterprise-level governance. So when you see BAR's price dip, I want you to remember this. Boeing didn't walk away. Google didn't walk away. IBM didn't walk away. Why should you? Real-world use cases, not just white-paper dreams. Now here's where it gets exciting. Because let's be real, a lot of crypto projects sound good on paper. They all promise scalability, decentralization, revolutionary tech. But most of them, they're still stuck in testing, still trying to figure out their first real-world partner. Hedera is different. We're already seeing live, functioning use cases. Let me give you some examples. Avery Dennison and Atma.io. They're using Hedera for supply chain tracking. Billions of items, clothing, food, medicine, being tracked on Hedera's network in real time. That's transparency and trust at a level blockchains can't touch. AdStacks, a decentralized advertising platform built on Hedera. They've already processed billions of ad events. And here's the kicker. Advertisers don't care about speculation. They care about efficiency. They use Hedera because it's faster and cheaper. Shinhan Bank and Standard Bank, we're talking cross-border payments and remittances. Traditional finance players experimenting with Hedera to cut out the middleman and reduce fees. DLT micropayments, streaming services, IoT devices, any system where tiny, real-time payments are needed. Hedera shines here because fees are so low. You can actually process a microtransaction without paying more in fees than the transaction itself. These aren't coming soon. They're happening right now. Billions of transactions already processed. And that's why I keep telling you, when you hold HBAR, you're not holding hype. You're holding a piece of an ecosystem that's already running in the real world. The crash is noise, the fundamentals are signal. So here's where we tie it back. You see the dip. You see the red candles. But ask yourself, did Hedera suddenly stop processing transactions? Did the governing council dissolve? Did Boeing, Google, IBM all pack up and leave? No. None of that happened. All that happened is the market turned red. Speculators got scared. Retail investors dumped. And whales took advantage. The fundamentals haven't changed. If anything, they've only gotten stronger. Because while the price goes down, the network adoption goes up. The use cases grow. The partnerships expand. And eventually, price always catches up to fundamentals. That's why I keep saying the crash is a trap. It's designed to distract you from the signal. It's designed to make you forget what you're holding. But the people who see through it, the ones who focus on the fundamentals, not just the charts, they're the ones who come out on top. If you're holding HBAR, you're not holding some meme coin. You're holding a network with cutting-edge technology, governed by some of the biggest names in the world, already processing real-world transactions at scale. The crash doesn't change that. The red candles don't change that. And the whales know it. That's why they're buying what you're scared to hold. Don't fall into the trap. Market psychology and whale games. Listen, I've got to say this because a lot of people don't get it. The market isn't just numbers on a chart. It's not just candles going green or red. It's psychology. It's fear. It's greed. It's manipulation. And if you're holding HBAR right now, you need to understand this part better than anything else. See, the whales, the big players, the insiders, the ones moving billions quietly, they know exactly how retail investors think. They know people panic when the price dips. They know people FOMO in when the price pumps. And they use that psychology like a tool, like a weapon, to shake you out of your position. You ever wonder why you'll see sudden crashes right after good news? Or why the market dumps the moment people start saying HBAR to the moon? That's not random. That's not coincidence. That's engineered. That's whale games. And here's the thing, these whales don't even need to dump massive amounts of tokens all the time. Sometimes they just spread fear. A tweet, a news headline, a rumor. Boom. The average person panics, sells their HBAR, and the whales scoop it up cheaper. That's the trap. That's what we mean when we say, the crash is a setup. Let me give you a real example. Back in early 2024, when Hedera started making headlines for partnerships with big organizations, banks, supply chain giants, even government-related pilots, what happened? The news was bullish. The fundamentals were strong. But the price? It dipped. Why? Because the whales knew retail was getting excited, and they wanted to reset the board before the next move. And now here in 2025, we're seeing the same playbook. HBAR shows up in more enterprise deals, gets adoption talk rolling, then boom, sudden dip. If you don't know the game, you think, oh no, I should sell before it gets worse. But if you know the game, you see it for what it is, accumulation. Here's where psychology hits hard. Most people don't have diamond hands. They say they do, but the second their portfolio flashes red, they're out. They'd rather lock in a small loss than risk the unknown. But the whales? They're patient. They don't need quick flips. They're building positions for years. They're not thinking about 8 cents HBAR or 10 cents HBAR. They're thinking about $5 HBAR, $10 HBAR, and they'll happily scare you out of your bag to get there. So the question is, where do you stand? Do you let their games control you, or do you see through it and hold? Because the crash, the dip, the oh no moment, it's all just noise if you actually believe in where HBAR is heading. And I'll say this too, history repeats. Look at Bitcoin. Look at Ethereum. They all went through brutal cycles where people said, it's dead. It's over. It's worthless. And every single time, those who held through the fear ended up on the winning side. HBAR is no different. But let me make it plain. The only way to win this game is not to play by their rules. Don't let short-term moves dictate long-term vision. Don't let headlines shake you out of your conviction. And above all, don't forget, the whales need your fear to profit. You take away that fear, you take away their power. That's market psychology. That's whale games. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. HBAR price predictability in 2030. All right, let's talk future. Let's talk about 2030. Because I know this is what everybody wants to hear, the price prediction. The big, where is HBAR going? Question. And let me just be clear. No one's got a crystal ball. No one can tell you the exact number. But we can look at history, at adoption, at market cycles, and build a picture of what's possible. So let's frame it this way. Right now, HBAR is undervalued. Period. The partnerships, the tech, the enterprise adoption, it's way ahead of the price action. And when you've got that kind of mismatch, the market eventually corrects. Always. It just takes time. Now, fast forward to 2030. What do we see? The tokenization of everything. Not just Bitcoin and Ethereum leading the charge, but real-world assets moving on to distributed ledgers. Supply chains, digital IDs, payments, energy credits, even government-backed systems. And who's positioned at the center of all of that? Hedera. This is where it gets crazy. Imagine global-scale adoption where enterprises aren't just experimenting, but fully running their infrastructure on Hedera. Every transaction, every data stamp, every micropayment, powered by HBAR. That's not just speculation. That's the roadmap. That's what they've been building quietly, brick by brick, partnership by partnership. So let's talk numbers. Conservative scenario, by 2030, HBAR could easily be sitting anywhere between $5 and $10. And that's the cautious take, assuming adoption continues steadily but without fireworks. But if Hedera truly becomes the backbone of enterprise-level blockchain infrastructure, if governments, banks, and global corporations standardize on it, then we're not talking $10. We're talking $50, maybe even $100 per HBAR. And I know some people will roll their eyes at that. They'll say it's impossible. But remember, they said the same thing about Bitcoin when it was $100. They said the same thing about Ethereum when it was under $10. And look where they are now. The psychology of disbelief is always part of the cycle. People underestimate. They laugh. They call it a scam. They dump too early. And then, by the time they realize they were wrong, the rocket has already left the launch pad. Don't be that person with HBAR. Here's another angle. Supply dynamics. HBAR's total supply is capped, but as adoption grows, demand rises. More transactions mean more HBAR utility. More utility means upward price pressure. And once institutions really lock in, liquidity dries up. That's when you see exponential moves, not linear ones. But let me be honest, this isn't going to be a straight line up. Between now and 2030, there'll be dips. There'll be crashes. There'll be those scary moments when people scream, HBAR is dead. That's the cycle. That's the shakeout. But for those with patience, for those who actually understand what they're holding, that's the path to life-changing gains. So yeah, 2030. If you're asking me straight up, is HBAR a 10 cents token in 2030? Absolutely not. Is it a $1 token? No chance. We're talking way, way higher. The only question is how high, and that depends on adoption speed, regulation clarity, and whether you've got the patience to hold through the noise. 2030 is closer than it feels. And if you're holding HBAR right now, you're sitting on one of the most asymmetric bets in all of crypto. So here's the bottom line. HBAR is not just another token on the market. It's not a meme coin that pumps and dumps with hype. This is infrastructure. This is a foundation. The very rails that enterprises, governments, and institutions are quietly preparing to run on. We've talked about adoption, we've talked about partnerships, we've talked about the technology, and now we've even looked out to 2030. And what's clear is this: the window of disbelief doesn't stay open forever. Right now, HBAR is undervalued. But by the time the rest of the world wakes up, it will be too late to get in at these prices. You've got two choices. You can get shaken out every time the market dips, follow the noise, and watch opportunity pass you by. Or you can zoom out, recognize the bigger picture, and position yourself for what's coming. This isn't about chasing overnight riches. It's about holding through the noise until the world realizes what you already know. HBAR is built different. And let me tell you, when 2030 comes around, and this thing is no longer a hidden gem but a global standard, you'll either be celebrating the fact you held strong, or regretting that you didn't. Do your research, understand what you're holding, and don't let the noise shake you out of your conviction. If you believe in the vision, hold on. Because when HBAR takes off, it won't just change portfolios, it will change lives. This is the time. This is the moment. Don't just watch it happen. Be part of it.